He's one of life's great survivors, and depending on your age, either a bat-biting hellraiser or a doddering indictment of the rock and roll lifestyle. Ozzy Osbourne has taken so many drugs and drunk so much alcohol, it's a miracle he's still with us. Although maybe the greater miracle is that his wife Sharon is still with him. I recently spent some time with the Osbournes at their mansion just outside Los Angeles. And while Ozzy has finally cleaned up his act, he's lost none of his ability to shock.
I always thought I was king of the earth.
Well, you are a living legend. It's official, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here in the bowels of his Californian mansion, Ozzy Osbourne is showing off his new sound studio.
Do you want me to play something?
Yeah, that'd be great.
If I can.
And his latest hit.
It's a nice track.
At 61, the former lead singer of Black Sabbath may be the grand old man of heavy metal, but Ozzy is doing his best to age disgracefully. You're really the granddaddy of devil music is how you're being described at the moment. Why do you think the crowds still keep coming?
I don't know, why do people like horror films? I mean, why do people like to see these films that they have a heart attack? Everybody's seen it.
You don't have any skeletons in your closet, do you? I mean, it's all open. You've written about your life and you've written about some horrendous things, but there's nothing more to come out, is there?
Oh, no, as far as I know. There's just somebody in the corner, you're the father of my son.
Oh, God, no.
It would be nice to have a bigger family. I wouldn't care.
Oh, Sharon.
Shut the up.
You're gorgeous.
Ozzy's family, including Sharon, his long-suffering wife of 28 years, is used to infamy.
Why did you get a stretch for like a head in these things?
Thanks to the reality TV series The Osbournes.
Please don't get drunk or get stoned tonight. Please.
Don't do that.
And if you have sex, wear a condom.
The celluloid antics of Ozzy,
Rock and roll!
Sharon,
Lovely.
Jack and Kelly made them the most famous dysfunctional family in the US and introduced a permanently sozzled Ozzy to a whole new generation.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Why the hell would you let cameras into your house to film the Osbournes?
That was an experiment. They went over the top. I mean, people would come to our house and go, is he always like this? And we'd go, why? To us, it was normal. So people would go, this is incredible. I love you all. I love you more than life itself. But you're all mad.
The kids were at those teenage years where they were interesting. We had Jack would strum up and down the house in commando gear and a paintball gun, and Kelly was, out at clubs all night. And it was just that time, it was magic, the family, and it was entertaining to watch.
Black Sabbath was formed out of desperation. 4 working-class mates who put together a band that was heavier and darker than any other on the music scene. They were loved by kids, loathed by parents for their satanic verses. A 10-year act that at its height saw Ozzy bite the head off a bat on stage. With so much success came debauched excess.
Heaven.
Addicted to drugs, grog and groupies, Ozzy was so out of control, his own band sacked him. Their excuse at the time was that you were too much of a drinker and too much on the drugs, wasn't it?
But, I mean, how can they say that? I mean, if you're taking one drug to alter your mind and somebody's taking 5 drugs, you're not any worse, but because you're both taking drugs.
Sharon stepped in, first as manager and then as wife. Sharon, what did you see in Ozzy? Why did you want to manage this out-of-control rocker?
Well, he had such a huge following. Everybody loved Ozzy. Everybody loved Ozzy.
And under her guidance, the crowds continued to love Ozzy as a solo act. It didn't stop his addictions off stage.
I've made many statements about being sober. And what I can really say is sobriety sucks.
But on stage, he claims he was almost always sober.
That was the only responsibility I had, was to give them the best show that I could give them.
How could you have the discipline to stop drinking for an audience, but not have the discipline to stop drinking for your family?
Well, it's like... Oh, that's a good question, actually. I'm stumped.
I said to you, you got to move in. You have.
It's I don't know. It's just what I did. I mean,
At the height of your addiction, how bad did it get?
oh, I mean, how bad? I mean, bad. I was arrested for attempted murder in Sharon. I had no idea. I didn't know what they were talking about.
Can we just stop there? Attempted murder of your wife. Mm-hmm. Right. What happened? Do you remember any of that?
I don't remember any of it. I can remember going to a restaurant, and that's about it.
Sharon, you remember it, obviously.
We came home from the restaurant. I was downstairs, he was up. Suddenly he comes downstairs a couple of hours later. He's got his underpants on. I thought he was ready for bed. And suddenly he just said, "We've made a decision." And I'm like, "We've?" Mm. "Yes, and you've got to die." And I'm like, "Okay, all right."
And so what did he do then?
He lunged on me and, got me down to the floor and started strangling me.
How close did it get?
Pretty damn close.
And that was like someone putting a red-hot poker through the middle of my spine. It's like, that was my worst. And that didn't stop me drinking.
I know. Why didn't that stop you drinking?
I don't know.
You've lived through an attempted murder. You've lived through affairs. You've lived through domestic violence at other times. Chronic alcoholism. Why did you stay?
Because, people, at the time that we got married, people would look at Ozzy and they'd look at me and they'd think, "Oh, she's so straight. She's so like housewifey. What's the connection here?" With the way I'd been brought up, Ozzy was quite normal to me. I didn't think he was extreme in any way, and I loved him.
But has the domestic violence stopped?
Oh, absolutely.
Now I beat the shit out of him.
Jokes aside, life for the Osbournes is now much tamer. They've moved from Beverly Hills. Why did you choose this place?
Because it's private.
To a gated community just outside Los Angeles. Do you like being a celebrity?
I like it better than not being.
And you've had both.
I've had both. Believe me, I've had both. And I like to go into a restaurant and not wait for a table.
One of the perils of being a celebrity is having to look like one. And both Sharon and Ozzy have had cosmetic surgery to keep the years at bay. You've had your fair share of plastic surgery.
One of my chins done. I did it done years ago.
And wasn't there a bit of liposuction around the hips?
Oh, yeah. It's still there, though. It didn't work.
Do you want to tell us what you've had done?
Well, everything. Over the years. I'm old, so I've been doing this a while. So it's, the facelift, the neck, the arms lipoed, legs lipoed, bum lifted.
The tits?
Tits, yeah.
She's having them undone soon.
Undone?
I don't like them. And those discs floating in you. I don't mind having it cut off. I don't like foreign stuff being put in. It's weird. I don't like it.
I've noticed that, darling.
Shut up, you.
And you've kept it so clean until now.
No.
In fact, Ozzy has never been cleaner. He's been sober now for the last 5.5 years.
Now, for me, that's a miracle because I couldn't go hours without a drink. But then one day, I just said, I'm done.
Do you feel better now?
Oh, absolutely. It's good to wake up instead of come round. I used to overdose all the time. My highlight of that, I really enjoy a cup of tea.
You Is he an easier man to love now?
He's always been easy to love because he's very vulnerable and a great person, and I always knew he was a great person. It was just that, you know, he was an addict.
I gave my soul to my wife gave me her soul. You know, I couldn't think of anybody else that I want to wake up next to, you know. I couldn't. She's my baby, I love her.
Let me hear you
Ozzy's planning to tour Australia early next year with his new album. But for a quirk of fate, he might have already been a true blue Aussie. Back in your younger days, when you were trying to get out of Birmingham, you even considered coming to Australia.
How did you know that?
I read it in your book.
My book? I can't remember saying that. I can't remember.
I've got it here. Do you want me to...
I can't remember writing that, but yeah.
But you couldn't afford the
I didn't have the
10
money
bob?
now. I thought, 10 quid go to Australia, that's it, I'm going. Dad, can you lend me 10 quid? Book it up.
I'll show my secret compartment.
Ooh. Really got a hidden door. Now Ozzy has more money than he can count.
The vault.
Vault? What's in the vault? And perhaps for the first time ever, a life that seems to be on track. That's all right for a kid from Birmingham.
It's all right for a little guy from 14 Odds Road, Aston.
You're doing all right, Ozzy.
Yeah. From one Aussie to another Aussie.
Exactly.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Coming up, where on earth have you been? Stolen by his own mother
She wasn't living in reality.
and missing for 6 years. You were on the run.
You can't turn back now.
But then, just as mysteriously,
He said to me, I was kidnapped just like that. It was mind-blowing.
Alex Batty reappeared.
It still doesn't feel real. It really doesn't.
That's next on 60 Minutes.